Hey guys, I hope all of you are doing well. So I welcome you all to yet another video in this Azure Data Engineering course, and in this particular video we are going to see how using different ways we can programmatically create the Azure Data Factory. So in the previous video we have already seen how we can create an Azure Data Factory and do the copy data activity using the Azure CLI. In this video, we will be moving forward with other options that we have to connect and to interact with the Azure Data Factory in a programmatic way. So with that said, let's get started with this video and let's get straight into the system. So as I have already told you that in the previous video, we used Azure CLI to connect to our Azure Data Factory. Then we using JSON files, we created our data sets, uh, we created our what we call this Azure blob, right? And then we moved the data from one location in the Azure blob to the other location. We basically did a copy data activity, which we have already also did using the UI. So we have already covered how we can do the copy data activity using UI, which moving forward we will be using the most. We will not be using this programmatic way to interact with the Databricks. Mostly we will be using the UI itself. And the second way that we have done is using the Azure CLI, where we don't have any kind of UI to interact with the Databricks. We just have a terminal, and using that terminal we were able to create and we were able to interact, and even after doing the job we were able to delete our resources just using the CLI commands, right? Now let's move forward and let's understand how we can create an Azure Data Factory using the ARM template. Okay, so this quick start describes how to use an Azure Resource Manager template ARM to create Azure Data Factory. The pipeline you create in this data factory copies data from one folder to another in the Azure blob. For tutorial on how to transform data using Azure Data Factory, we can go on to this link. And this copy data activity also we have we have done multiple times, so we already know aware about that what kind of activity it will be. So an Azure Resource Manager template is a JavaScript object notation, that is a JSON file that defines the infrastructure and the configuration of the project, right? So we will be having a JSON file where we will be defining the infrastructure, means what all tools we will be using, what will be their configurations, right? And all those details will be in a JSON files. The template uses a declarative syntax that we have to declare everything, right? Means we have to step by step write each and everything, right? We just can't we just can't write any it in an anonymous way and it will work. You describe your intended deployment without writing the sequence of programming commands to create the deployment. Okay, so now we will not do it in the same way just like we did line by line. So we can just see here how we can do it, right? So prerequisite will be an Azure subscription. So what we can do is we can create a file employee.txt, right? Save it in this particular folder, okay? And then we can, using this particular template, right, we can just create and do the copy data activity. Here you will be able to see you are having each and every detail that is required here, right? You have your data factory name, okay? You have your location, the storage account name, the blob container, any variables, resources, right? Each and every detail is written in a JSON kind of format. Then if you want to deploy the template, so you can click on this particular button, right? Select or enter the following values, okay? Unless it's specified, uses the default values to create the Azure Data Factory resources. So we have to describe these values, and then we have to review our deployed resource. Some data factory will be created, this storage account will be created, and you can select the storage account and go into containers. Then you can upload your file. Then you can come on to your Databricks, Data Factory Studio, and then you can click on the author tab, and then you can just trigger the pipeline. Then you can monitor the pipeline, and the pipeline will be succeeded, and your file from input directory will be from input directly it will be copied to the output directory, right? And that's it. And then you can clean the resources using these commands. Similarly, we can do the very same thing using Azure PowerShell also, right? So there you can see here, right? So this is the UI part, right? Creating the storage account. We can do it from the UI, and then using Azure PowerShell. First of all, we will launch the PowerShell. We will connect it to our Azure account. We will get the subscription. We will select the subscription using the subscription ID. Then using these variables and the values, we will be creating our resource group. Then we will resource group first of all. Then we will create a resource group and run the following command, right? New resource group name. Okay, fine, right? So we will be running this command after creating the resource group. Then we will create a data factory. So this is basically the variable created for the data factory. This is basically a variable resource group name, and this is the value that has been assigned to the resource group name. And with the same variable name, we have created a resource group here. Similarly, this is a variable with this particular data factory name, and using this variable, we have created the data factory in this particular command. Then we can create the linked service using the JSON files, right? Then we will create the data sets using the JSON files. Then we will also create a pipeline using a JSON files, and then we will create a pipeline run. So basically, using the run ID, we will be running our pipeline, and once the pipeline has started to run, we will be monitoring the pipeline. So such kind of detail will be provided in the terminal. Pipeline is running in status, in progress. Once it is succeeded, it will be given as succeeded, and then we will be having our resource group name, data factory name, run ID, pipeline, right, last updated, and all these details we will be having in the terminal itself. We will not even have to go to the UI and all those things, right? And then we can run the following script to retrieve copy data run details. For example, the size of read and write and all these details, right? So if we want to know more about the details, just like we click on that view button, right, on the specs button. Not here. Right? Just like this particular button, the details that we get, the same details we will be getting here. Okay. And then we can deploy the resources, and then we can clean up our resources. Similarly, using .NET, okay, .NET now becomes a kind of programming language, right? So we will require some IDE to do those things. So we can do it using the Visual Code, right? So we have to create a project, right? And then we have to install the packages. Then using C# and all those things, we can do the very same things that we had done till now. Then using Python, right? Again, Python comes into the category of programming language. So if you are dealing with the programming language, we will have to use our IDE in this particular case, right? So again, we will have to install some kind of Python packages. So we will install Azure Management Resource, right? Then we will install Azure Management Data Factory, install Azure Identity, right? And then we will be create a data factory, first of all, client. So we will do all the necessary imports. Okay. From identity, we will import the client secret credential. Then azure.management.resource, we will be importing the resource management client. Then azure.management.data factory, we will be importing Azure Data Factory Management Client. Then Azure Management Client Factory.models, we will import everything. Then from datetime, we will import datetime and delta time, and then we will import our time. Then add the following functions to that print information. Okay. So here print items. So it will print the resource group name and the resource ID. Then properties, it's going to print as the properties dot provisioning state, and print activity run details, it will be basically printing as the status, right? Outputs, data read, data written, uh, copy duration, and any kind of message if there is any kind of error that we face. Then we have our main function. So here we will require our subscription ID, we will require our resource name, we will require our data factory name, and then using the client ID and the client secret key and the tenant ID, we will be able to authenticate into our basically into our account. Then we will be creating a data factory. So resource client dot resource groups create or update, we will be giving the resource group name and the resource group parameters, and then df underscore resource, we are creating factory. So using this factory instance and passing a location parameter, we will be creating an instance. Then adf.client factories dot create or update, we will be giving the uh, resource group name, the data factory name, and the data factory resource, and then we will print the items in the data factory. Then we will create the then we will create the linked service. Then we will create our data sets, create the sync data set, and then we will create our pipeline, something like this. Okay. So we will give the activity name, blob source is this, blob sync is function of this. We must have already created the function, right? Blob where, okay, fine, it's not creating the function, it's just creating the instance of these functions. Okay. Then data set references, right? So this is the inbound data set reference, and this is the outbound data set reference. And then we have the instance of copy activity. So here it has given the activity name, inputs are this, outputs is this. Okay, source is blob source and sync is blob sync. And then we are giving the pipeline name as this, params of pipeline is currently empty, right? It has taken this 2 times. Note the parameters in the pipeline, add them to the JSON parameters shown below as parameter for each. Pass the parameters in the data flow to create. Okay, fine. Okay, and then we are creating our pipeline object. So pipeline resource activities, we are doing this copy data activity, and params, we will be passing the params for pipeline. And then adf.client pipeline.create or update, resource group name, data factory name, pipeline name, and pipeline objects. And then we will be creating the print item of pipeline. And now using this create run function, we will be basically running our pipeline, and then we can monitor our pipeline using this particular code, right? Once done, we will be starting the main method which we have created here, this one. Okay, which is basically ultimately calling the functions and the resources which we have created till now. And then we will start the main method and we will run our whole program. So this whole program can be also written in one single file, something like this. Okay, so we can create one single file, we can copy this code, and then we can run this code just like we do. And in the console output, we will be getting the name of the data factory, ID, the location, tags, name of the storage linked service, okay, name of data source input, data source output, name of the pipeline we will be getting, then pipeline run details, okay, time zone, activity details we will be getting, how much bytes got written, how many bytes got read, was the activity successful or not, and the copy duration, basically how many seconds did we did the pipeline ran. Then clean up the resources. So using this particular function that is delete, we will be able to delete our resources. So adf.client.factories.delete, we will give the resource name and the data factory name to get it cleared and get it deleted. Then using the REST API also, we can do the same thing. Okay. So we will be connecting to our Azure account. We will get the subscription. We will select the subscription. Then we will pass a few parameters, and then using the basically the body and the kind of JSON responses, or you can say JSON hits in this particular point of time, we will be able to create the copy data activity, something like this. So these will be the request basically that we will be throwing to the data factory. So here you can see, right, method is put. Okay, again method will be put. Okay, we will be getting a post method. So mostly we will be using a put or post method. Wherever if we want to insert something, we will go ahead with the put method, and then if we want to hit something, we want to get it run, there we will be using the post method. Okay, and then using bicep also, we will be able to do the same thing. Okay, so using bicep also we can do, and we can interact with our Azure Data Factory, or not only Azure Data Factory, I would say we can interact with almost all the services that are present on the Azure cloud. Again, I'm saying almost. It's not that we can interact with all the options available here, right, with all the services, but with Azure Data Factory, at least these are the options that are required to connect and to interact and to do any kind of stuff that we can do using UI is possible using a programmatic fashion, in a more automated fashion, using the different options that are provided here. We can do it using our Azure CLI. We can do it using Azure Resource Manager, Azure PowerShell. Then talking about the programming language, so we can use .NET and Python. What I feel like is Bicep is also a programming language, right? So Bicep is a domain specific language. Okay, so we can also use Bicep to do, if I categorize it in the programming languages, and if we want to do using the APIs, so we have even the option of REST API calls if we want to interact with our Azure Data Factory. Cool. So if you ask about why this comes into picture, so first of all, it's more of a thing, right, that we have given a multiple option to interact with the platform. So how the user is convenient and maybe comfortable to use our platform, he can do it firstly. And the second thing is that providing these programmatic options to interact with the platform, we give more of a flexibility to the developers. Okay, so we need not interact using the UI, so any kind of manual intervention will not be required at a very high level. We will only have to interact at a very low level if we are creating these programmatic way of interaction. So most of the things, right, and at least whole of the pipeline we will be able to automate. Okay, we will be able to automate, and we will also be able to use the CI/CD facilities, which also we can use using the UI also, right? But that automation is up till a certain limit if we are doing the stuffs using UI. If we are doing the UI, if we are doing the thing in the programmatic way, the automation is has more room and more option to be done. So that is the main reason that we have an option to connect with the data factory in the programmatic fashion also. Cool. So I hope you guys learned something new in this particular video. I will see you in the next one. Till then, keep learning and keep growing. Bye bye.